Ouais. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway, formerly known as Atlanta International Raceway from 1960 to 1990. 1.5-mile entertainment facility in Georgia, hosting NASCAR races since 1960. And tonight, they are now hosting the NASCAR trucks for the Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series. We're here for round number 16 of the Skypoynt Triple Crown and second final round of the season. Drivers tackling 130 laps, so it's going to be an awesome one, especially coming after, this round being after our very entertaining last round at Daytona. Joining me in the commentary booth here tonight is Paul Jackson. We don't have Peter Gredden in here tonight, but no doubt we'll have him in here next time. But Paul, how's it going, mate? Let's flick off the mute button for you. Let's get you talking. Atlanta Motor Speedway, basically a super speedway, and we've seen some awesome battles throughout the season when we have came here.
Hey, good evening, Ryan, and everyone tuning in at home. 2 rounds to go. So Atlanta Motor Speedway, the second to final round, and should be a good night. Haven't done a lot of racing on the updated Atlanta at all, so can't wait to actually get some races on the new track.
Yeah, we mentioned that it is the second final round, and now that means that on screen we do have our second final qualifying session of the season. And just before seeing Aaron Dillon just getting a little bit crossed up and just making contact with the outside barrier, and now we're focusing on the 199 of Noddy Tompkins, and he's on his lap at the moment, so we're going to see if he can improve on his time. So far he's in 14th position after laying down his first time of the session, just 0.3 seconds off the pole position of Darren McKenzie, Tom Pritchard, Andy Barber and Josh Schultz as the top 4. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can improve. He's the only car on track at the moment. Dave Douglas is about to turn his first lap as well. So what's Noddy going to do for this qualifying session? He puts up to 6th position and just knocks out Andrew Dyson. Now we'll look at Dave Douglas here. He was pretty strong last season, awarding himself the number 1. And no doubtedly, he's been dominant this season. He's shown the pace, and he has been in a pretty big battle throughout the season with the number 6 of Tom Pritchard, who is currently P2. So Dave Douglas, he's going to be trying to get to extend his margin to Tom Pritchard. Remembering they are in the battle together, so they will be focusing on each other, and we'll see how they're going to fight together throughout the race. But looks like he's ran out of time, unfortunately. So Dave Douglas starting from the 19th position. And speaking about the starting grid, here we go. Darren McKenzie from Southern Stars Esports. He puts his number 2 truck on pole position, starting next to a Skypoynt teammate of Tom Pritchard. Andy Barber in 3rd position with Josh Schultz in 4th. Stephen Williams, Noddy Tompkins, that's your 3rd row. Andrew Dyson and Nigel Seidel, that's your 7th and 8th. Maxie Marshall and Luke Kenny, that's your 5th row, and that ends your top 10. Craig Roffey from Middle Split Racing, he's starting next to Riley Curtis with Christopher Tomlin. He is in 13th, starting next to his teammate Luke Crummy in 14th. Tony Roffey and Gary Wellman line up side by side with Toddy Maxfield and Glenn Klein, 17th and 18th. Dave Douglas, we just saw before, running out of time in the qualifying session, left it out a little bit too long. He starts from 19th, and Aaron Dillon making contact earlier on. He starts 20th. Kim Roffey, Alex Schmidt, Jason Holsworth and Che Mello, they end your 24-car field, and 24 cars currently sitting in the pit lane behind the pace car, getting ready to go green. We have the track facts and everything up there for us for the NASCAR Truck Series, and that's sponsored by Skypoynt. Broadcasters Paul Jackson, Ryan Barber. Who else would you want to listen to on your Tuesday night? Especially my ugly mug that might make an appearance next round. I don't know if I'm burying myself down there, but 1.5 1.5 miles as we see some interesting stuff happening in the background. Car storm burnouts. That's a bit interesting, but look at all the smoke in the pit lane already, and it looks like people are starting to celebrate a little bit too much, but let me tell you, fucking Simboys, hashtag that and put it in the comments. But we're getting ready to go green very shortly. Darren McKenzie, Tom Pritchard, that's your front row. We head over to Andy Barber and Jai Schultz. Keep an eye out on them too. Stephen Williams, Noe Tompkins, 5th and 6th, Andrew Dyson and Nigel Seidel, and Riley Curtis, Max Marshall. That's your top 10. So make sure to look out for those guys. And Atlanta Motor Speedway, these cars do have 4 tyres total, so they will be starting on set number 1, and they get to make 3 changes. But it is like a super speedway. We've said that throughout the season, and that's going to come into play here tonight. Yes, it's not as long as a super speedway, but with the new update, it's very much like. But we're getting ready to go green very shortly, Paul. And what do you expect?
Carnage, absolute mayhem. No, 2 weeks in a row, almost a 2-row lockout for Southern Stars there. So must be doing something right on that super speedway. So hopefully Mackenzie can have a better run tonight after last week's little mishap. But yeah, we want to see some good racing tonight, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And talking about the run before, we've just gone green and we just missed it because we don't have we don't have the Geico restart zone here enabled. But we are green for the first time. Darren McKenzie ends currently. Andy Barber gets crossed up down the bottom. He catches the car nicely and has it cranked sideways. He catches it and he goes to the end. His teammates up ahead. He's all alone. And so let's see how he's going to recover from this. Luke Kenny, Glenn Klein, they're 2 laps down. They haven't even started the race. Yes, they are. They're on the track now. So everything is happening so far 2 wide. And they're starting to go 3 wide as well. So it's getting a little bit hairy as Kim Roffey there. No, it's Craig Roffey is starting to make some moves there. Jai getting a little bit crossed up there as well. And Tom Pritchard on the bottom there is going to give the Roffey of Craig a little bit of a push as Craig's trying to make a move on the high line and get past Darren McKenzie, but that's not working so far. We're already on lap number 2. Darren McKenzie and Craig Roffey are side by side already. The battles are ramping up. Jai Schultz and Tom Pritchard are side by side. Everyone is side by side and the battles are unfolding pretty quick. We've already seen some action happen already, and it's 3 laps in out of 130. Don't know how I'm going to get through this with my voice, but guess what? The season's about to end, and they're making the season end with an absolute cracker of a race so far, as we are 3 laps in so far.
2 wide racing, and we're only 4 laps in, and no one wants to give anyone a bit of room here. So this is awesome racing for everyone watching at home.
Awesome racing indeed, and the racing still continues. Cars still side by side heading down the back stretch. Craig Roffey, Darren McKenzie still side by side. The bottom line still being pretty powerful, and that allows Darren McKenzie to stay ahead. We're heading in for lap number 5, and speak about number 5, car number 5, Andy Barber is currently set the quickest time of the race. He's in 19th position after his incident earlier on, and Tom Pritchard goes down to the apron too. Looks like he's going to pull back to try and get to Andy Barber. Let's keep an eye on the number 6 and see him, come behind the number 5. So they'll work together. And we're having our first wreck off the night. Caution, and there's car upside down. That looks like it's Luke Crum. And that looks like it's Christopher Tomlin, and he's gone for a couple little rolls there. That's unfortunate for him, and that's been a big accident, and we're only 5 laps in. That was bound to happen with all the action that was happening, and he's smoking, and looks like the engine is absolutely toast, and with very fast repairs, that's going to bring some unfortunate ends to some people's races. But we'll go to the little sneaky Skypoynt replay. Let's have a little look at what happened to Christopher Tomlin, and this does end his race, and it does end a few other people's races as we had some crazy action. Here we go, Chris Tomlin up the front there, he makes a bit of contact there. It looks like it's one of the Roffies of Craig. No, it's Jai. Craig Roffey and Jai get together, and now both of the Sim Boy, not the Sim Boys, the DPR cars get a touch, and that creates a bit of an accident there. Tomlin and Craig get together. I'm not too sure who that is, but everyone's piling up. Let's look down the back there. Dave Douglas, he gets through as well, and as we see a couple cars together, and Chris Tomlin, he's still upside down, if we can see that as well, and he slides upside down for quite a little bit. So that's a little bit crazy, so we might chuck a little sneaky cockpit cam, and we'll have a quick little look-see at that. So here's the accident here. We have Jai up ahead, Craig Roffey, they get together, and then the DPR cars get involved. Chris Tomlin gets a tap, and off and over he goes. And look at the sparks, he's staring at the ground, and I don't think that's what he would want to see for the second final round, as he comes back over onto his wheels very luckily, and manages to get it going. But at the moment we have from P18 to P24 in the pits, and they'll be taking their repairs as well. But that now promotes Andy Barber up 6 positions too, after getting involved in that incident earlier on. Tom Pritchard, his teammate, is there also, and that damages quite a few cars. And just to name a couple that I can see at the moment that are still in pits, and they have been for an extended amount of time, there's Andrew Dyson, Toddy Maxfield, Craig Roffey, Noddy Tompkins, Chris Tomlin, and Luke Crum. So yeah, that's a unfortunate end to the race, and we'll get talking with a couple of drivers very shortly, but I'll shut up for a second. I'll be right back, and I'll throw Paul up into the commentary booth until I get back.
Well, it would have been 6 laps in, and first caution there, so yeah, a few drivers having their night ruined early on, but yeah, pretty good action so far. No one wanted to give any room to anyone. 2 wide, 3 wide action right from the drop of the green flag. So pretty good racing. Yeah, a few people opted just to drop to the back as well, try and stay out of the early dramas. And looks like that sort of worked out well for Andy Barber and Tom Pritchard. They managed to avoid that as well. They may have ended up having a race ruined if they had stayed up the front there, but that's all hearsay and predictions. But yeah, no. Biggest movers so far, we got Aaron Dillon up in 3rd, Simboys, and up 17 spots so far, so biggest mover there, followed by Dave Douglas there up in 7th, up 12 spots, so a few spots up for them, but pace cars off. We're about to hit the green flag once again, with Mackenzie bringing us to the green.
And we're going green for the second time tonight, lap number 8 out of 130. We just had a pretty hefty accident that did bring an unfortunate end to at least 3 cars. But so far so good. Darren McKenzie, Aaron Dillon, that's your first and second. We're going 3 wide already. Dave Douglas at the bottom there. He's having a little run with Stephen Williams, and looks like Luke Kenny's back there trying to make a fighting chance. But we also see it looks like Andy Barber is following pretty closely behind, and his teammate is not too far back, but he's going to have a little bit of a fight with Gary Wellman. That is Andy Barber. But looking up at the front so far, we can see Darren McKenzie's getting a little bit, getting into a little bit of a battle with two pink princesses of Luke Kenny and Aaron Dillon, and they're going to have a little run with Darren McKenzie and try and get past him. And if they work together, they should be able to get past. But don't discount Dave Douglas, who's also sitting there behind. He also has Riley Curtis following Gary Wellman, Stephen Williams, and everyone is going to be going for that number 02 and trying to get past him. But we have quite a few cars in the pits, I've noticed. Toddy Maxfield, Glenn Klein, Alex Schmidt, Noddy Tompkins, Chris Tomlin, and Luke Crum that I mentioned just before. They're all a lap down. 18 cars remain. And Andrew Dyson is pretty damaged. If we look back at him, we can see him just drop away from the pack. And that's something that's very surprising to me, because I didn't think that would see Andrew Dyson get involved in an incident this season. But you know what? It happens to anyone. and there's a chance for anything to happen to anyone, and you can't predict this to happen. But unfortunately, that does end his race and his chances at winning it. But we still have an awesome race to sit there. We still have an awesome race to watch, and I reckon Flea put his cam up so we might be able to see him later on. But we have a 5-car battle up the front. Darren McKenzie, Aaron Dillon, Luke Kenny, Josh Schultz and Gary Wellman. They're working together. And Aaron Dillon goes around and he spins off on the apron and talking about the devil. He's unfortunately spun off into the infield of the front stretch. That brings out our third caution of the night. And it looks like he's going to be trying to get back on track. But so far, it doesn't look like there's been any casualties apart from Aaron Dillon. And he doesn't have any damage, I don't think. That's Josh Schultz that's behind him, so I'm not too sure if they made contact or if Aaron maybe touched the apron or anything like that. But that's a bit odd to see, and you can see some damage in the back of him, so I think he did get a little bit of a tap from Jai. But we'll have a look at, we'll just have a look at the replay. We'll have a look at the up the top yet again. Let's see what happened. Jai there, looks like he just got loose on the apron and they got a little kiss from Jai while he was turning. So unfortunately a self-spin caused that caution, but at least no one's damage out of this one, and we are 13 laps into this race, and cars are diving into the pit lane again. But so far so maybe good, Paul. We've had 2 cautions so far, and you know, apart from that, predictions. I heard you talk about predictions. What do you predict what's going to happen when we get to the back end of this race?
Carnage, absolute mayhem. No, I better not say that again because it's starting to turn that way. We're now 14 laps in and 2 cautions, so maybe I should stop saying that one. But yeah, I didn't predict the racing would be this close up the front there. It's pretty full on. You know, one wrong move and as you saw, you know, Aaron just run a little bit lower on that apron line and got a little bit loose, unfortunately. But yeah, predictions at this rate, it could be anyone's race, really. You know, Mackenzie's in a good spot, obviously, with that P1. He can get a nice little jump, get away from the field a little bit, but everyone's just sitting there. So really, it's going to come down to, you know, keeping your truck clean, not getting involved in these accidents, and if we can get some green flag running, getting a good pit stop, and you know, that'll make or break the race, really.
Yeah, and if the drivers do show a bit of patience, we haven't really seen too much of that this race so far. We've had the 2 cautions, and one of them was caused by a bit of contact being made. And the drivers are battling pretty hard so far. And when they battle, well, the harder they battle, the more they fight, the bigger the chance of a caution happening. And that's what happened, you know, here earlier on in the race. We had cars making contact, and patience is one of the biggest things here, especially at a super speedway. The smallest contact, well, I say it's a super speedway, it's like one, and it is one, but it's very similar to a super speedway, which means if cars make slight contact with each other, then they do pile up and crash, and a lot of cars get out like we saw earlier tonight. So a bit of patience to get to the end of the race. Once they are at the, you know, the dying stages of the race, you know, 20 laps, 10 laps, 5 laps to go, that's when the battles should be like starting to form. The cars starting to battle more bump draft, you know, bigger risk of caution towards the end of the race. You know, just being patient, getting to the end there. That's what I think the drivers need to focus on the most. But so far with the 2 cautions, we've seen not so much patience, but we've seen a lot of hard racing. But we're going to get green yet again. We are here, lap number 15 at 130, and looks like Darren McKenzie gets going yet again for the 3rd time this race, and he gets a bit of a gap on Jai Schultz, who's now in 2nd. Luke Kenny is now diving into 3rd position, nearly making contact with Shea Mello, and he drops back towards the back end of the field. A couple cars just pitted also, and that was the majority of the remaining in the field, and now they have a bit of a fuel advantage over Darren McKenzie, Josh Schultz, Luke Kenny, and Gary Orman, Max Marshall. Drivers like that, and Jay Mello, who just went to the back, gives them a bit of a fuel advantage for the people that did pit. But Josh Schultz is now in the lead. Darren McKenzie's down the bottom there. Luke Kenny, he's next to Darren McKenzie, and he's going to tuck in down the back stretch. And looks like the cars are starting to calm down a little bit more. We're going single file and very rarely double file in this race so far. And lap number 17 out of 130. We're not even a quarter of the way through. Now, we've already had 2 cautions, and we'll see what's going to happen here. But so far, the cars are surviving. Paul, like you want to say, carnage, 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 and you love carnage. But I don't think the drivers are too impressed with all the carnage. But so far, the cars are not wrecking. No carnage, no spinnies, and no bennies. Luke Kenny now becoming the race leader. He's up at the front now after making a move on Josh Schultz. And he made that move around the outside, and that was with Gary Wellman sitting behind him, just allowing him to get ahead of Josh Schultz. And he still remains in the lead, which is good to see. Luke Kenny, after having an unfortunate accident, I think, last season, he's really been able to apply his racing and really learn from this, and been able to push forward. And now we see him in the lead for the first time I think I've seen. And he's done an awesome job holding off Darren McKenzie and Gary Wellman, who are side by side just behind him. But Paul, Luke Kenny, he's done well, and I've seen him progress through the season, and seeing him up at the lead, that's pretty good. That's pretty nice to see.
Yeah, definitely, and a bit of a newer team, I'd say. These guys have been running this season. I think a few of them close together. The addition of Aiden coming into that team as well in the last week or so, which isn't actually on track tonight. Maybe we'll see him for the final round, but they've been having some pretty good runs from LCR, and they're definitely showing a bit more promise. And coming into season 4, we might see a lot more results from them as well. But that outside line's really kicking off now. You got Schultz had the run, then Kenny, now Wellman. He's got his teammate Aaron Dillon behind him, and Simboys are looking to run around the outside with that line. So starting to get a Simboys train on the outside, and you got Todd Maxfield there in the background. He's lap down still. He's there with his team trying to get back. Ooh.
Oh, we have contact again, Josh Schultz. Now this is going to cause another wreck, and looks like a very big accident is unfolding here. And we saw a car just absolute fidget spin, and that was a big accident. That's brought even more cars out, and as the dust and the smoke dissipate, we see a few cars smoking around. And who is that we're focusing on? And that's a Skypoynt car, and that's a very damaged Tom Pritchard. And unfortunate, that's absolutely unfortunate there. And Andy Barber, not too sure about him. We might need to have a little check at him. Maybe both the Skypoynt cars are out. But we see one of the Platinum cars here, Josh Schultz, getting involved with another car. And that's Alex Schmidt. And focus on the O2 of Darren McKenzie as Alex Schmidt comes down, and look at this miss and just gets past. We go back to Tom Pritchard also, who's about to get involved in this. We do have 14 making contact, and then look at the 7. He goes over and over and over again, and he just spins. And as we see in the corner there, Tom Pritchard absolutely drilling Alex Schmidt, and he gets damaged as well. And then Andy Barber gets around very safely. So everything is happening so far, as I'm now looking at the replay for my own just now, and pretty hefty contact there for looks like Tom Pritchard, and that's going to no doubt bring some engine troubles to him. And the number 7 is also pretty damaged. The 27 is damaged, and the number 16 as well. But that happens, and now that's going to bring even more cars out of this race with Luke Kenny, our current race leader, as we're focusing up the front to him. And very good to see him. But we are getting ready to go green very shortly. The pace car is there, and they're getting ready to go double file to get going again. And Paul Blocker doing a magic compression and leaving for a second. We'll throw him back in once he's back. But Luke Kenny up at the front. That's good to see. He hasn't really been up the front this much this season, and very nice to see him up there. And we'll talk about his team also with the integration of Aiden Schultz. We didn't see him here tonight, and that's unfortunate. I do miss seeing good old Aiden, and hopefully he's here for next season, remembering that he did move from Southern Stars over to the other team and winning 3 championships with them. But hopefully we see him next round. He's a much missed driver, much skilled driver, and we're looking forward to see him next time. For the final round here at the Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series, and speaking about the final round, we are gridding up once again to go green yet again. And so far, pink and green, that's your top 2 of Luke Kenny and Gary Wellman. Paul, I'll throw you to this one. Why don't you call us the green?
Alrighty, Luke Kenny, Gary Wellman, front row. You've got Mackenzie and Roffey there. Mackenzie managing to stay out of trouble on that last one. And then you got the Kim Roffey, Tony Roffey, Aaron Dillon, Craig Roffey. So all the Roffeys managing to stay out of trouble tonight as well. So they're going to have a quite a good race tonight, I think, if they can keep it going. But, just coming round into turn 3, I believe. And the pace car lights are off, so we will be going green in just a moment. Got 16 cars, I think, 16 trucks. Keep saying cars, did it last week, we'll do it again this week. But 16 trucks still on the lead lap with some battle scars on some of those trucks. But pace car pulls off, and we got Kenny coming to the green.
We're seeing Gary Wellman's car spitting. We see Gary Wellman's car spitting a couple of flames as he gets going yet again for the 4th time. I think this is for the Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series, lap number 26 out of 130. Luke Kenny is our current leader with Darren McKenzie in 2nd, Gary Wellman 3rd, and we have a Rocky there. It looks like it's Kim. He's sitting back as well. But so far, the car, trucks, whatever they are, they're the same thing. They stay nice and straight, and no caution has happened so far. Lap number 26 at 130, no incident so far. And I'd love to say that this has been a clean race, but there's no doubtably Paul Blocker there just being a little bit mean and throwing the commentator's curse at a few drivers as he usually does. But we see Dave Douglas there on the back of Riley Curtis with Andy Barber following behind there, and everyone's starting to make some moves as well. 2 wide up at the front, Luke Kenny, Gary Wellman, Aaron Dillon and Darren McKenzie are battling hard. And we are only lap 27 into this one, and we have a bunch of damaged cars in this race. But Paul, you've said there's been carnage, and you've been right, but with this unfolding now, why don't we continue with our predictions?
Well, excuse me for being a that outside line seems to be getting a lot quicker as well as the race is going. If you get someone good to give you a push, you can get a good run around that outside line. And we saw Simboy doing it earlier just before that last caution there, but we saw Schultz, Kenny get the run around the outside, and Wellman, and it's about to happen again as Wellman and Aaron Dillon's going to go to the front here. So if Wellman keep pushing Gary, get Gary clear, and then get himself clear. We'll have Simboys up into 1st and 2nd. But Craig Roffey's looking, he wants to come with him. But you got Kim Roffey, Tony Roffey there as well. So once Wellman and Dillon drop in that inside line, if they choose to, then it would be a good idea for the Roffeys to pop out, I think, and have a bit of a run for that front.
Yeah, we just see a little bit of contact there. Darren McKenzie making a little tap of foot. Kenny just saying a little hello, just reminding him that he is there. And we're heading into 99 laps till we go green flag. Well, no, till we go checkered flag. And Aaron Dillon's getting a bit messy up the top there. And we're seeing cars starting to make a little bit of contact with each other. And they're starting to wrestle around with each other. That brings Luke Kenny to third. And he's falling back a little bit into the rest of the pack, but he still holds his third. Darren McKenzie right up the backside of him, and we do have a couple of Roffies that are sitting together. That's Kim and Craig. They've both managed to not have too much damage, but 15 cars still remain on the lead lap. Tom Pritchard's fallen back now. And in 16th position, he has way too much damage to be able to make a fighting chance with everyone else. And unfortunate to see with that. But I'm trying to find the standings, and then I can just have a little bit of a chat with that. Season points, here we go. Have a little look-see at this as we're seeing the cars battling up the front. Still, we have the two cars of Gary Wellman and Luke Kenny. They're fighting together as well. Luke has managed to push up once again to the front, and everyone is having a go with each other. No caution again, and we will hope that we don't have another caution. But good race so far, shown a lot of action. And Paul, not too much to say, but so far, who's your pick to win?
Don't know if we can pick someone. It's chopping and changing out there every lap, and as I said earlier, you have to keep the truck clean, and I didn't say car this time, but you keep your truck clean, and anyone can win this race tonight.
It's anyone's race, anyone's win, and like I said before, simple contact can bring a big accident, and that's what it's shown here tonight as Tom Pritchard sits in the apron and lets everyone else go past, but we'll have a little chat to him later on. But while it's quiet so far, I'm just going to have a look for a driver that I could probably talk to, and I'll bring in Sharp and have a little chat. Surprise, Chris, I'll bring you into the broadcast booth. It's Ryan and Paul. Unfortunate end to your night, ended up on your roof. But yeah, what happened there?
I think I clipped the back of Craig there because him and Jai were going side by side a little bit, and didn't lift enough. But oh well, shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens indeed. Sorry to bring you up. Just forget that you'd be a pretty good person to talk to. But your race up until that point, how do you felt like that went? How did you feel that your race went leading up to that stage in the race?
As my team boss said, he just said just send it. So that's what I was doing, having fun and sending it. Not much more you can really do. We're coming towards the end of the season. Since they're going all super speedways next season and whatnot, I thought might as well go out with a bang and have a bit of fun for the last 2-3 weeks of the super speedways.
Yeah, and it's a hell of fun. But before I throw it back down to your team, sorry for bringing you up. Going to next round, how are you going to take the Daytona 500?
Same way I took this one. Just send it and just hope for the best. It's all about luck around here. Just try and get a good position. Try and stay out of drama if you can, and just keep circulating until the last 5 laps.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you letting me throw you in and not ignoring me, but unfortunate end to your race, and hopefully next round can be better.
The blokes are in the pits and whatnot, so hopefully they can fix the engine in the next couple of minutes. Get out there and just be a pest to some of these other drivers out there. That's my goal, and just circulate and try and maximise as many points. It's all about championship points, and for me, I don't really care about where I place as long as I finish the race. So just go out there and try and accumulate some of the points back on some of the broken cars.
Yeah, speaking about broken cars, we've just nearly had a caution. We've had a couple of cars sliding around, skidding around, and nearly getting into each other. So I'll throw you back down there, and good luck for next round.
No, but see you later.
Yeah. We had a little bit of action there before as we were talking to Chris, and a couple of cars getting a little bit messy. We were 40 laps in, and we've had 3 cautions already, and we nearly just had another one as we saw cars drifting around, being able to manage to keep the car straight. That was pretty hairy to see, and no doubt a couple of brown stains would be happening there, but that brings Sarah and Dylan into the pit lane. Looks like he's been frightened into running into the pit lane. We'll have a look at Aaron Dillon here in the background. Let's see what's going to happen. This is a replay, remember. Aaron Dillon getting involved with a Roffy, and oh, what a catch from the Roffy, and they managed to keep going. I don't know how they managed to keep that. And Aaron Dillon coming into the pit lane now for a bit of repair. But we'll have another little look at that, and I'll shut up for a second, but what a moment. And what a moment indeed. That looks like a bit of an incident happening there, but yeah, that's pretty hairy to see so far in this race. Pretty early on. Sorry, I can't speak very fluent English, and here I am for the NASCAR Truck Series here at Skypoynt. And speaking about Skypoynt, why don't I mention them, because they are the league sponsor. Skypoynt is Australia's first Google search partner focused on Aussie conveyancing. So if you want to check that out, feel free to. I'll just read their purpose out. Skypoynt is Australia's only dedicated digital agency for conveyances. They offer a range of services and tools that provide conveyancers with reliable and effective marketing and sales strategies. So if you want a conveyancer to help you with your sales and your leads and whatnot, jump on board with Skypoint. They'll help you out. They'll hook you up, and good old Tommy will help you out with that. But thought I'd give them a little bit of a mention. And one of the old sponsors of this league this season, we have Hot Toddy's Heating and Installs. So hit Toddy up for that if you need, if you needed services. But I didn't bring that up, so I can't read it out. But so far, we have a battle up the front. Darren McKenzie, Gary Willman, Rolly Curtis, and Dave Douglas. That's your top 4. They're having a run together. They're having a fight together. And let's see what's going to happen here. The single file looks like everyone's starting to play it smart, and they're doing a good job of that. But Paul, I'll have to throw you back in, and I'll bring it back.
No worries. So looks like that might have been Tom just jumping out the way again there, but McKenzie found himself back to the race lead once again as the last single file mostly, just looking in the background there, just a few cars getting past Mr. Andy Barber there by the look of it. Lap 46 of 130. Last pit stops for some of the drivers were around that lap 23, 24 mark. So Riley Curtis and Dave Douglas there opting for a little sneaky splash drive through on the second lap of caution. So now 24 laps into this run, so we might start seeing some green flag pit stops coming up shortly, in probably the next 10 laps possibly. The way things are going, if it stays green, we won't say we're going to get carnage and mayhem anymore, but we're still going on our ways here. So McKenzie, Wellman, Curtis, that's your top 3 currently. Douglas, Williams, then we've got a whole bunch of Roffies in the background there. Back to 8, Barlow, Mike, and Shea Mello is your top 10 with Holdsworth and Seidel. 12 trucks remain on the lead lap as we go around. About to clock over 50 laps in this race. Looks like a single lane running now as the field's thinned out a little bit. Looks like everyone's just sort of settled in. They're not pushing quite as hard as they were. So that looking for that green flag run to pit and see if they can make any ground as we come into our pit lane and green flag pit stops. But Mackenzie out in front and Rowan, they don't have anyone there to work with at the moment. And you've got Curtis and Douglas, their teammates, and Williams in the background who will work with them as well. And the Russians. So it'll be interesting. Wellman and Mackenzie are going to have to work together here and hopefully have a good pit stop run when we come to that green flag pit stop. And they're going to have to work with who's around them here to help each other out.
Yeah, and helping each other out does help, and remembering it's just like a super speedway. So Darren McKenzie here that's ahead of the pack. He's punching that big hole in the air, and everyone else would be sitting behind him trying to save their fuel to get further in the race. But 51 laps in, now 52. We are very familiar with number 52, Haypaul, and we'll have quite a few laps to remain. Just below 80 laps remain as everyone buzzes past, but so far everyone's managed to keep together nicely and haven't made contact with each other too much in the race with the people remaining. But in regards to people remaining, we do have 12 cars left on the lead lap. Luke Kenny's now a lap down, so not too sure what happened with him while I was gone, but he'll be trying to get back up to the front where he was before. But we're looking at the back of Darren McKenzie here, who is our race leader. That's Gary Wallman having a look-see behind him, just taking the draft. We can see that big Skypoynt logo on the back that is our league sponsor. But Gary Wallman just sitting there very patiently behind there. Riley Curtis behind Gary. Dave is sitting there patiently after narrowly missing the incident earlier on. So everyone's been getting together and everyone's been able to, well, most people have been able to avoid the incidents, but incident avoiding does help. But strategies playing in this race is we see a lot of the cars out of the race, and that is the majority.
I don't know if you noticed that, Ryan, out of turn 3 there, into 4, they out of the back of Mackenzie's truck there, it's got a bit of a pothole almost, and it gets quite loose coming out of 3 and 4 there. Just have a look as they come round 2 here down the back straight, and when it comes through 3 and 4, have a look when it gets that bump in the rear of the truck, so there we go, steps out. Not going to do it this time. So the last 2 laps, it looked like there's a bit of a bump there he hits, and steps out a little bit on it, gets a bit loose.
Yeah, the truck getting a little bit loose there on the corner exit as the tyres start to wear down. The rear tyres get nice and hot. Wouldn't say nice and hot, they just get really hot and slidey, and that causes the car to drift out. As I yawn yet again, hopefully I don't fall asleep in this broadcast, but Gary Wellman sitting there behind Darren McKenzie, just sitting up his tail, and I'm pretty sure Darren McKenzie's had enough brown stain moments here tonight to give Gary Wellman a bit of a smelly little smell there. But they're running together very nicely, staying very clean, and Gary Wellman's keeping some distance to Darren McKenzie, which allows both cars to run nicely without getting into each other. But 57 laps at 130 out of 130, and pretty wild to see, Paul.
Yeah, definitely they put on a good show at the start, but things are definitely settled down now as the race is about to approach almost that halfway mark. We've still got a few laps to go to get there, but yeah, everyone's settled in finally, and you know the carnage, the mayhem's happened, and I think the way we go now might go green flag to end.
Yeah, and that's what the drivers are going to be looking forward to as well, because they'll just be trying to get to the end and the dying stages to the races where you want to be. But let me tell you, I've been in, I think, one of the Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series races, and I shot myself the whole time, nearly crashed into everyone. And if you had a look back to when we had Pete Gredden from LR Esports, he was doing it before he hung up the helmet. He managed to see me getting in the way of a few people and pissing a few people off and getting involved in some incidents. But
that's the
let me tell
only way to race, Ryan. Get in the way of everyone. That's why they don't put any blocker. But you know, you just get in the way of everyone, and yeah, it's their problem then.
Yeah, and I love getting in people's way, especially when my name's Paul Jackson, but Paul likes to find his way up into everyone, so when he crashes out, everyone isn't surprised. But 61 laps out of 130, we still have, we're nearly halfway through, and we still have a few cars remaining. Long race to go as we are overtaking Tom Pritchard yet again. But why don't we go on board with one of the drivers? Not too sure if we have anyone that has the driver cams up. Let's throw a blocker in this. And never mind, Mackenzie in the pit lane. So he's coming in for his first, I think, green flag stop this race. That is a race leader. He's come in, and we'll have a quick focus on him and see if he's going to miss his marks like Paul, or if he's going to get a nice pit stop done like he wants to. Stops on the marks beautifully. The car goes up on the jacks. Does it? Yes, it does. He's changing those tyres, and it's going to feel very nice after that. And we're going to see how he progresses out of this one with the cold tyres. Remember, cold tyres, stone cold. These aren't heated up like Formula 1 tyres, so he needs to let these heat up, or he can get a little bit drifty and spin out. But so far it looks so good. And Gary Wilmer's the current race leader. He'll be coming in very shortly, so keep an eye out on him. Here's Riley Curtis there, who's now the race leader. Gary Wilmer comes down into the pit lane, and he crosses it up. And I'm not too sure if he got a stop. And there's carnage in pit, and there's mayhem in the pit entrance, and this car's hitting the barriers left, right, and centre. And it's pretty weird to see some cars hitting the pit barrier, but here we go. Second final round of the season. We're seeing everything happen, and usually it's blocker in the pit wall, and not too sure who's in the pit wall now.
Looks like the Roffies, I think, coming into pit lane there. But Wellman having a bit of a little bit of a sideways moment coming in to lock up, and all the Roffies piling in after him. But been a while since I've messed up a pit entry, but I've still messed it up with the pit bays. You know, I can't see through the cars and, you know, overshoot them or that sort of thing. But yeah, looks like the Double D's casting couch boys coming in, Curtis and Dave Douglas, and looks like Williams following them in, so they're all in chat there. And your old man's taking over the race lead here, Junior.
Yeah, the old boy out in the lead, and he's doing a good job there. Jason Holdsworth is following behind. Let's see if they can work together, but Andy Barber being a bit further down. And he was able to run with everyone else and just stay clean and out of the incidents, and that keeps him in the lead at the moment before he comes in, but he will drop down a fair way towards the back end of the thing. But 2 laps until Paul's favourite number, and Andy Barber's just out there circulating out in the lead. Jason Holdsworth comes in behind him, and looks like Andy Barber's still the only one in the pit, so we'll shut up for a sec. We'll watch Andy Barber come into the pit lane and see where he ends up. And looks like Andy Barber picks up his best friend, Tom Pritchard, and they come into the pit lane together. and never mind, Tom stayed out like a little loser. But out in the front, we have Riley Curtis and Dave Douglas, and they're having a run out the front, and they'll be running together. Jason Holsworth coming out the pit lane, and he's going to exit out onto the track with everybody else. And that looks like it's one of the DPR cars getting past. But blocker in my ear looks like it's a pretty fair chance that we had Jason Holsworth cross the pit line, and not too sure if he did that, but maybe that's something that we can start looking for.
This is a very interesting thing here. I think Mackenzie's just pretty blown around Douglas and Curtis by himself. So I'm just wondering if they didn't take tyres. He's stretching his legs on Curtis. We know that Mackenzie took tyres in that pit stop, and he's pulling away on his own from Curtis and Douglas there. Look at that gap blowing out.
Yeah, and the gap's going really well, and everyone's been able to run together really well. But guess what, Blocker? It's your favourite lap number. It's your favourite number, and Blocker, mate. Looks like you old dog, you haven't done that in a while. But Darren McKenzie is in the current.
Well, at least I have done that. So yeah, but yeah. I'm very nice.
I was laughing and I kicked my cord out of my headphones. And if you weren't going to shut me up, looks like God did. But Darren McKenzie out in the lead, Riley Curtis in second, Dave Douglas in third. And they're running out in the lead together. And there's only 4 cars there. But looks like they're working together really well. And Andy Barber comes out in 6th after going through his pit stop. Jason Holsworth in 5th. But looks like Paul started again because his favourite numbers just disappeared. But Darren McKenzie up at the front there, he's doing good. He's led quite a few laps so far this race, and looks like only half the field remain. But Paul, I'll throw you into this one. Is there any cans that we could drag up?
Any what, sorry?
Any cameras, mate?
Any cameras? Well, I've got plenty of cameras here, but what do you want me to do?
Webcams, mate.
Those cameras. More cameras. Oh, yeah. But we got the only mug we've got is the same mug every week is Dyson. So maybe you should drag Dyson up here, and we'll jump on board with Williams. And he can have a bit of a chat as Steve goes around. Obviously, Dyson jumped out of this race, but his teammate there, Stevie Dubb, still running around. He's just dropping off the pack a little bit, but
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with dragging up a vacuum cleaner, so let's talk to him. We have Andrew Dyson there, mate. We saw you out of the race earlier on, getting involved in the incident, just trying to find where you're currently sitting. I'm not sure if you're in the race
pits,
or not. There you go, you're in the pits. You answered it for me. And I should have known better, but not the race that you wanted to happen, Andrew. You're sitting in the pits after getting involved in a couple of accidents. But leading up into that point, how's the race been?
Well, I only just really got started. It was like 4 laps in, and they all started crashing. And then it was almost like there's this blue car on the outside, and he almost had like a sympathy crash and like just slid down and came into me. And that gave me 4 minutes damage, and then eventually, like, I got it down to like 40 seconds of repairs left to go or something, and then the motor blew. So it was pretty random. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like, everyone else around me's got big damage, and I've got hardly any, and I'm going backwards. Anyway, it's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, but unfortunate, and yeah, it does suck. But your teammate is running out in 4th, that's Stevie Williams, and he's running a good race, but. Well, obviously, he's doing a bit better than you tonight, but how's he looking so far?
Yeah, not bad. He's just chilling behind these lads up front. I think they're talking about it just being sort of Dougie, Riley, and Steve in the race, because it looks like a few other guys around him need to pit earlier or something like that. So, see what happens, though.
Yeah, and before I throw you over to Paul, because Paul likes to shut up and he doesn't like talking on the broadcast because he's camera shy and he's just a little bit of a girl when it comes to that. But Andrew, heading into next round, we do have a Daytona 500. Full length Daytona 500. First question: are you going to be there? And the second question is, how do you think you're going to tackle it?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've done me a little dabble in trucks now. I reckon I'll probably give it a break for a bit and see if I can come back for the next season after that and see what else is kind of happening on Tuesday nights, or maybe I'll just do nothing for a bit. I probably will get a bit busy soon. I've got a member of the family on the way. I pick him up in a few weeks' time, so be a bit busy with a little terror running around, and might not be able to do as many races every night. So we'll see how we go.
And we'll see how you go. Hopefully we'll see you return, because we'll miss seeing you, having you cam up here and having you run around. But Paul, we'll throw you into this. It's my favourite thing to do. I love to throw you under the bus at every opportunity and shit talk with you. But Paul, why don't you have a little chat to Andrew?
That's right. Well, I guess firstly then there's some congratulations in order. If there's a little vacuum Dyson on the way, but...
Yeah, four-legged version. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves here.
Okay.
Yeah, none of that business. No chance.
Maybe Dyson might need to like that lap 69 a bit more, Ryan. But,
that's more like your thing, Paul.
Yeah. But we'll get that lap 69 on the casting couch, perhaps. But a bit of a. Unfortunately, it looks like he didn't have a great qualifying run either tonight round here.
I didn't really focus on qualifying. Like, I think with a track like this, as long as you play your cards right, you can kind of play Frogger and get you out of the front that way, sort of thing. So wasn't too worried about it. And at the same time, if you do qualify bad and you're at the back or you're out of the danger zone, you can kind of see wrecks happening and got more of a chance to avoid them, although sometimes there can be even more cars wrecked by the time you get to it. You can kind of slow down in time. So there is that. So yeah, qualifying I'm not too worried about. Just I think I ended up around about 8th or 7th or something like that, which wasn't too bad because you're close enough to the front that if something happens you can just kind of go to the bottom, which is what I did. But like I said, there was a car on the outside that was kind of out of control and it's come down into me, so just unlucky. But I'm sure plenty of dudes will have the same story. There's like just a little thing that they didn't quite get away with and that wrecked them, because there's plenty of cars out of the race tonight. So I'm not the only one having a big whinge about it, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And it's unfortunate for you to get into a wreck, and Paul knows all about it because he pretty much gets in a wreck every race he does. But yeah, unfortunately you were in as a bystander of that. We had a couple of cars get together, and when those cars got together, that I'm pretty sure it was Chris Tomlin or Jai Schultz, they just got tagged and kind of flipped off and gave you a little love tap and, gave you the damage. I wouldn't say it's a love tap, but it gave you that much damage.
Well,
but
it felt like a love tap, but it did not feel like 4 minutes optional, that's for sure. But, yeah.
Maybe RSN just wanted to give you a bit of a surprise for this race.
Maybe.
Well, I was going to say maybe an iRacing surprise, but maybe we can have a broadcast surprise and get some commentary from Dyson going.
I haven't got a live broadcast to look at, but if you can somehow give me one, I'll take a look. Actually, I can probably just click on my Discord, can't I?
You're in the race. You can just really go off the race.
Oh, true. I can too, can't I? Yeah. Well, what are we talking about?
And Discord.
And Discord. Yeah. I'll have a look on Discord. See, because if I can see what you're looking at, then I can yell about some cars going fast and turning left. Let's have a look. See if I can find it. No, here we go. I'm onto it.
Give the viewers at home some more Dyson pleasure and put Dyson on the comms a bit.
Yeah, maybe I'll hit mute this time.
I don't know. They look like they're going real fast. They're turning left at the moment. Turn 3, coming around to turn 4. I don't know how you guys do this. Seriously, it's quite hard. But yeah, at the moment, this type of the race, if I'm out there, I'm just cruising around doing exactly the same thing as all these guys there. I think the lads earlier were talking about Darren. He's trying to get most laps led, so that's why he's out the front at the moment. That gives him some bonus points, and I think he's kind of at peace with the fact now that he's not really as much of a chance to win the race as the guys behind him. So that's why he's just going for those bonus points to see where he can get. see what he can get from that. So I think the race really, like I was saying earlier, it's between probably Dougie and Riley more than anything. As much as I'd say I want to see Steve get into it, he has a little bit of damage as well. Apart from that, all the cars behind those guys, I mean, looks like Jason has a bit of damage as well. Shane Mellow's looking pretty clean, so he could be a bit of a dark horse towards the end of the race. Who else we got? Gary Longman, he's not looking too bad. He's pretty clean at the moment. Andy was going slow earlier in the race, which was kind of weird. I don't know if he was waiting for a mate or what the go was, but he was pretty parked up. But his truck was clean, so that's a bit of a mystery. And then, we've got Tony Roffey kind of hanging around. Probably the last car that's really in any sort of contention at all. He's got a fair bit of damage too, so a bit of a mixed bag out there. But I think best cars in with the shot at the moment will be Dave and Riley, and that's all, of course, if there's no yellows coming out. So there's always that part of it as well. They're going too wide back in there. What's going on there?
Just getting some lap traffic through, so Chris Tomlin back on the field, getting loose. He's going for a big drifty around there, but manages to hold on to it. He's still sliding, but big moment there for Chop.
Looks like Chop gets involved in another accident after getting a bit of repairs. We're on lap number 88 at the moment, and car's still getting a little bit sideways, and looks like the rears are starting to really heat up and get a little bit slippy and slidey, remembering that we do have the open setup, so the cars can do behave differently once they do have hot tyres, and that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing cars getting a bit sideways, a little bit drifty, and Chris Tomlin, after having a bit of getting involved in a couple accidents, he did end up on his lid earlier tonight. He was upside down, and I'm surprised that the top half car isn't shaved down from slipping upside down for so long. We're nearly 90 laps in, 40 laps remain. Darren McKenzie still in the lead over Riley Curtis and Dave Douglas. Steve Williams, Andrew Dyson's teammate. I'm not too sure who Andrew Dyson is, never heard of him, but he's sitting in fourth position, lapping around nicely, just staying out of the trouble. Everyone started to calm down and just circulate, just get into their own rhythm and try not to make any mistakes. But Andy Barber's trying to now make some moves on Che Mello in sixth position. Andy Barber traditionally tries to sit back out of the pack and make his way forward, but he is separated from his only teammate so far in the race, Darren McKenzie. Tom Pritchard's out of the race using the pit lane, looks like he lose engine like Andrew Dyson did. He's sitting in 15th position, Andrew's in 16th, and they're both there sitting, getting their repairs. And we also have, I don't think any other teammates of the Southern Stars were in here tonight, so bit of a just a couple of cars from Southern Stars team jumps in for the night. But Riley Curtis and Dave Douglas are staying patient before. You're very familiar with them, Andrew, and why don't we get some team insight? Don't tell us too much. We don't want to give everyone else your strategy, but what throughout the season, what is the plays that Riley and Dave traditionally do? How do they work their race?
Gee, man, well, to be honest, man, like we keep saying, the only reason I'm really jumping in the Discord, or myself and Steve jumping in Discord with those guys, is because at the start of the season, you saw I kept running into Dougie all the time. Like, not intentionally, just trying to do the right thing, follow him around, give you a bit of a push or whatever, and I just managed to cock it up again and again and again. So I decided we should jump in the chat with them and cruise around, and that's basically what we're doing. So there's no real strategy involved. You just kind of got to cruise around for the most part in these type of races. You cruise around for the most part, position yourself well, and try and be near each other at the end, because that's when you can really make a difference. And it's only at the end of the race that you start to sort of work together to push each other around and things like that. But for sure, you want to keep yourself close to the front. You don't want to fall off the back, because that can get you in a bit of trouble, like we saw just before with the little, I think it was the Tomlin kerfuffle. He was having a bit of a moment, and then Tony Roffey was pretty lucky to hang on to the train, to be honest. He fell right back and got back into it. So you don't want that sort of thing happening. But looks like Tony's back onto the back of the train now anyway. So with how far he fell back, that tells me these guys are probably going, 85% pace at the moment. Really, no one's really pushing anybody, so they're not going super quick. And I guess they're all saving a bit of fuel. So that'd be the strategy that's going on at the moment, I reckon. Trying to have the fastest pit stop at the end of the race is what the name of the game is right now.
Well, it looked like they got about 42, 43 laps, I think, of fuel on that green flag run. And I don't know if that was probably going at about 95% pace anyway, but yeah, so I don't think they'll save enough to get home. They'll still have to make one stop, but it's just going to be a matter of who's going to break early and see if that benefits anyone. Mackenzie sort of fell back, I think, towards fourth, I think, after his early pit stop from the lead, so he managed to find his way back up to the front there, but yeah, do you think an early pit stop strategy will work, or do you reckon that just go with the flow, go with everyone, you see the car front pull in, get in there as well, try and pull the truck up, don't make any mistakes, and show everyone that they can do a better pit stop than the pit stop king Dyson?
I don't know about pit stop king, because I managed to mess it up a fair bit, but no, definitely we see Daz coming in at the moment. He's got to come in. So, yeah, he's got to come in real early. So, just as we're talking about it, funnily enough, he'll come in, do his stop, and a lot of other guys are just going to keep going, because the best strat is to just keep going with the pack. That's how it's going to be the fastest. Whether it be Atlanta, Talladega, Daytona, all those go faster on left tracks. They're all the same. You've got to be with the pack to go the fastest. So, everyone's going to stay together for as long as they can, but whoever's got the most fuel will stay out to do the most laps right now, because basically what it means is, although everyone still has to stop once, if they sit stationary for the least amount of time, just like any sort of touring car race even, if you sit stationary for the least amount of time, you're going to come out in front. And if you come out in front with your mates together and you can work together and stay away from what's going to be the pack at some point, there will be a pack that will form up, you can stay away from them and stay out in front and basically have the race for yourselves to battle it out, which I'm tipping you'll see happen with whoever stayed that the longest here, I reckon. As long as they can all have a reasonably clean pit stop together and come out together, they'll be the guys that we see battling at the front. But you never know what can happen on these pit entries, man. Cars slide around and people overtaken and someone breaks early and someone else is, sliding up into the fence, and it can get pretty wild, man, especially at, Talladega, Daytona, where you're coming in there really fast. So this track's hard as well because you've got to brake around the corner, so there's that thrown into the mix.
Definitely looks like they're wanting to put down some flyer laps now. You've got Douglas all over the back of Curtis now, giving a real good push. So they're looking like they want to get that gap on Mackenzie now, because Andy Barber came in the pit lane as well from the back of this pack with Mackenzie. So they're going to work together to try and get a bit of pace going and make up that ground, but it looks like the guys at the front there putting the foot down as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're trying to make a bit of hay while the sun shines, I suppose, but they're on the point, so they need to choose to do something. They can continue to go slow, or they can get on with it. And I guess they've decided to get on with it a bit and see who wants to go fast with them. I think they'll be right to go the longest, because they did come in pretty late. I'm going to have to check the timing on that one, but I think they came in pretty late compared to most cars. Certainly compared to Darren McKenzie back there. That's why he's out of it, but he'll probably get the most laps led, so he'll get the points from that, like you said.
Lap 65, by the look of it, was when they pitted, and Holds was 66, so they were out there the longest.
I'm just looking at this timing at the moment. It looks like Tony's actually fallen off that train, that's kind of that 5-car pack. He's slipped down a little bit by a couple of seconds now, so that's a shame to him, because he was right on the pack, just clinging on for as long as he could. Oh, I've got some smoke through here. What's going on there? Someone's had a bit of a slide either coming off the pits or around turn 1 and 2 there. Anyway, still green.
And we're still green flag despite seeing a bit of smoke. Usually we're seeing smoke when Paul spins out, but that's the usual current. We don't really think too much of it. But at the front, at the moment, Riley Curtis, Dave Douglas and Stephen Williams. So there's your top three, with Darren McKenzie, Andy Barber coming into the pit lane to work together, and they progress back up the field as other cars come into the pit lane. Gary Wellman's also a car that is a lap down, but he's also circulating around. But I think Gary Wellman might be falling back 2 laps down anyways. A lap down anyways, maybe got involved in the incident or something like that. Nigel Seedle's down the pit lane. Gary Wellman is running fine, never mind. I'm just being a little bit stupid, just trying to read off the race purely by the race timing. But Riley Curtis and Dave, people that are very familiar with Andrew Dyson here in the commentary booth, and obviously Stephen Williams, all three of those boys in the Discord No doubtably they'll be talking with each other, chatting with each other, trying to help out each other despite not being teammates. Pretty sure that, they do have that respect for each other to get tangled up. But Dave Douglas, a little bit of a naughty double D boy. Hopefully he doesn't give him a little bit of a little tap. But 26 laps remain in the race, and we're starting to see the final pit stops unfold. But this is a question for you, Andrew. How many laps did your fuel last?
Well, I don't really know. I don't think I got to do a full tank before it blew up on me. But
oh yeah, that's right.
they're coming in now actually, so that'll give you a good idea.
Well, we might let you jump back anyway, Dicer. Thanks for jumping in the booth with us, having a chat. And
that's all right. Saves boredom.
Let you go and crew chief some more anyway.
Yeah, I reckon the lads have got it under control, but I'll get back there and have a chat with them and have a laugh and whatnot. So yeah, cheers for having me.
No worries, and might see you in the booth again one day.
Maybe. Catch us later.
And crash as Andrew Dyson leaves, and that's two people from in his team Discord that have got together, and that's a big accident, and that's Andrew Dyson's teammate that's just been involved in that one, and Andrew's not even out yet, and his teammate's just been hit really hard, and
maybe Dyson might stay here a bit longer now.
Yeah, maybe I won't go back.
Yeah, but that was certainly bad timing. Looks like all the curses going on tonight in the booth.
Well, that's racing, as they say.
We'll jump back to a Skypoynt replay on that one, and just have a bit of a look-see here. And looks like Stevie Dub might have got a little bit loose in the rear, and he's got Tony Roffey there, I believe, as well, right next to him. So no room given there, and just a bit of a hip and shoulder into each other, and Stevie Dub getting a bit looser as well, and both trucks were just sent.
And that's a terrible accident, but just a little bit unfortunate there. The cars just get together. That's also the number 11 of Jason Holdsworth that was there as well, and the number 85 there of Roth, who gets huge contact into that barrier, and we're still, I'm looking at the replay still, and looks like it was a bit of a tough one to avoid, and that brings a couple cars, more out of the race that we had before, and it's only 23 laps to remain. Riley Curtis and Dave Douglas, that is your top two, and Jason Holdsworth, he missed that incident. Darren McKenzie, Terry Mellows in fourth, Darren McKenzie's in fifth, Gary Wellman sixth, Andy Barber, Stephen Williams seventh, eighth, and Craig Groffey ninth. Nigel Seidel, that ends your top 10, and we only have 4 cars on the lead lap, so this one's going to be an interesting race to the end, and hopefully we can see some more battles unfold. But the number 69 there is peeling off into the infield. That's Nigel Seidel. Is coming into the pit lane, I think, or he's getting transferred to the back, or maybe getting a lucky dog or a wave run. Not too sure what's happening, but this is caution number 4 of the night. And Andrew, but unfortunate to see your teammate in that one.
Yeah, that's racing. Like I said, mate, those things happen. So I don't even know if he's got a motor or what at the moment. Yeah, no good, is it?
Maybe you can roll out the 041 truck now. It might have a new engine in that one by now.
Yeah, paint a quick number on the side real quick, or I'll throw some stickers on and get him back out. No one will notice.
Yeah. Something like that. It looks like Mackenzie's got a little bit of scrape damage on the side of his truck now as well. So he's got a little bit of damage there, and he's actually a lap down looking at that timing. So he's the first truck a lap down, and everyone's pitted. So we've only got a 4-truck race here. You got Curtis, Douglas, Holdsworth and Mello on the lead lap, with Mackenzie the first being down lap with Wellman and Barber and Roffey.
And 4 cars on the lead lap, 4 cautions and 4 brain cells in me. And it's going to be awesome calling the rest of the race. 22 laps remaining And not too sure what's going to happen here. Riley Curtis, Dave, Jason, and Che are going to make it to the end, but they last pitted lap 105. And it's going to be questionable whether they're going to make it. I think they will, but 4 cars on the lead lap. That leaves everyone else a lap down plus, and is pretty much fighting for the podium with at the moment. One person can lose out on this one, but so far everyone's gotten away clean with single file for the most part after this restart. And we are 21 laps remain, and Andrew Dyson was thrown back in here, and I reckon we should keep you in here for a bit longer until we can talk shit with your teammate. And Chris Tomlin still gets involved in some incidents, and he got a little bit sideways there, and we've seen that a couple times here tonight. We've seen it yet again. That's Tom Pritchard behind him, who's following, also just circulating around. Remember that we do have the draw at the end of the race when we do have our post-race review, where we have a look at all the incidents and make the appropriate calls to be able to penalise the person that did the wrong. But it's pretty funny. But Che Mello there we're looking at, we can see his information there. Che Mello, hometown from Adelaide, keep racing till you win, and he's just chasing a win. So looks like he might hit that goal.
Just need a win. Just need a win, he says. Get around him, boys. You might get a win tonight.
That's good to see, and we can see that he is very enthusiastic about that one. And he's just sitting behind the the podium at the moment, the same patient in close proximity. And we do have Darren McKenzie that is there a lap down, and I think that Darren might be able to assist him with this one, or will he try and get to the lead? But he is a lap down. Remember that he will need to be able to gain that lap, get ahead of the pack, go caution, then get the lucky dog to be able to be on the lead lap. Same with everyone else. So we'll see what's going to happen here. 18 laps remain. The laps are ticking down quick. And so far, Riley Curtis and Dave Douglas, that's your 1 and 2. And doesn't look like Dave Douglas is taking Riley Curtis very easy, and looks like they're racing as hard as always. But Gary Wellman goes around, same with his teammate. Never mind, it's not his teammate, but Gary's able to catch it. Same with Luke Kenny. That was pretty hairy. They managed to keep the car. Managed to save the slide to keep the car straight. We've seen that so many times tonight. We've seen it yet again. And Andrew, Paul, this race is ending pretty quickly, and the battle is still going on hard as it has been the whole race.
Well, Ryan, it's a truck, not a car, and I'll correct you on that one, because I've done that too much myself, but maybe it's rubbing off on you. But yeah, a little bit of drifting action at the back there, but 4-truck race to the finish, 16 laps to go, and then it'll be it's well and truly past your bedtime, Ryan, but you know, you're still awake. Hopefully you won't fall asleep in the next 15 laps, will it?
Watch me.
As I said, it is past your bedtime, but we'll bring this one home, and then you can get a good night's sleep with your teddy bear.
And the teddy bear looks like you, Paul, and I punch it every night before I go to sleep. But still see some smoke, so a couple of cars getting involved in. Speak about smoke, why don't I throw you under the bus, Paul? I love when I watch you race, because 9 times out of 10 you do blow your engine, or you crash out, or you slam a pit wall, and you still laugh like a witch every time.
The only time is when I race with you, and that's why I've stayed away from racing from you. See, I had to pull out of that the Indy races, because you blame me if I wrecked the championship there when you were fighting that one with Holdsworth, but you kept getting into me, so it's always your fault.
Yeah, well, you say opposites attract, and that looks like it happened. But Paul, love racing. If you're going to race a few soon, I'm going to drag you into a couple of league races, and looking forward to take you out as It always happens. Remember, head to Daytona next, and Paul, that's probably where one of our best memories unfolded when I got soaked when I was fighting the championship with Julian Mukai for the Global iRacing League's IndyCars Championship, and we got together, and no, it's a little angry little man, and I still am, and I reckon we'll still get together, but I reckon we'll both be laughing after the race and still talk shit in the broadcast here. But speaking about talking shit in the broadcast, Riley Curtis is in the lead, Dave Douglas, Jason Holsworth, Chady Mello. That's your top four, and I don't think it's been a time in a while where I've seen Paul up in the top four. So Chady Mello chasing the win. He's doing a pretty good job, but Andrew Dyson, we'll throw you in again.
Well, I was just going to say, you can see right now, we're talking about Chady Mello, we've got Jason Holsworth running upper lane. He's trying to get Shay. He's trying to basically get Shay to push him along and follow him around the top lane. And now we've got Nigel, who's kind of this just dark horse at the back here. He doesn't know who to follow, so he's just going with whoever he can stick closest with. And they're not really making much ground at the moment. So Dave and Riley are able to stay real close, but Shay and Holdsworth here not quite close enough to really make anything of it. So he's dropped back down again, but I reckon that's what we're going to need to keep an eye on. He's going to keep trying to do this as he pulls out again. He wants to get around the top. But again, Shay not quite close enough. Not forgetting as well, Holdsworth has got a little bit of damage on the front of his truck there, so that's not really going to be helping. I reckon they'd be better off if Chady Mello was in front of Holdsworth here, because he's got a pretty clean truck, and I reckon Holdsworth has got I've seen him be able to push before, so he knows how to get around and push some people along pretty safely. So that could be a safer bet, give themselves a bit of chance, but let's see what happens, eh? I mean, they've got 3 cars in a row now. Nigel's decided to follow those guys in the top lane. And we've got another car just clinging on back there. Who's that in the purple rig? Just clinging on back there. That's Kim Roffey. So he's not in the race though, is he? So he's 2 laps down, but he could still come up and help either of these trains out. For the moment, he's sitting behind the top lane. I reckon that's just because he wants to sit behind whichever car he can get closest to. But when he gets there, he might want to drop down to the bottom lane, so it could be 3 versus 3 for the last few laps. So we're rolling in within 10 to go now.
Well, when I was looking out the front of Chady Mello's car, I said car again, truck, he looked like he had a little bit of damage on the right front on the bonnet, so we jump in there and just on that right front there above the bar there, he's got a little bit of damage I noticed earlier, so when we were on board with him, and yeah, that could be hindering a little bit of that push as well.
Yeah, definitely. And these guys behind them in the 69, Nigel and Kim Roffey in the 099, they're sitting back a fair bit. They're just playing it safe. So they're not really getting involved at the moment and helping either of these lanes. So until they kind of get right up behind either Dougie or Chady Mello, they're not really going to make much of a difference, either of these guys, to what's happening between the top 4.
Looks like they're getting quite loose on that outside lane as well. I did notice that outside lane earlier, sort of mid-race, was quite fast as well. You had Schultz and Kenny and Wellman and that, and Dylan. They've got quite a good run around that outside line. And looks like Holt's just pulling in now, so maybe Mello's going to have a crack at the front and see if Holdsworth can push him around.
Yeah, I don't know if that was an intended swap. Like, it didn't look intentional to me, but that's the way it's played out. They've fallen off a fair bit, but no doubt they'll catch back up. They could actually come back with a really good run here. 5 laps to go, they could build a head of steam and really rip around the top 2 here. So that's working in their favour, that's for sure.
Depends if there's too much damage on the front of Mello's truck to get him back up there. But that push, Douglas and Curtis, they got a bit of a gap there. That is slowly closing again. So you might see that run build up a run and then go for that push around the outside.
And here they come. They've caught up a little faster than I expected. And I don't know if that was a cheeky little block there, but they've kind of parked in behind, so I didn't expect to see that. I would have thought they'd try and keep that run going and get around it. But, maybe they could be chatting together. They could be working together here. They could be saying, hey, it's a bit too early, let's chill. So they're still hanging in there behind for now.
And they are racing together pretty hard as well. 3 laps remain in this race. Riley Curtis is our race leader. Dave Douglas, Double D, is in second, and we are going down the back stretch. They are side by side for the most part. Riley Curtis still the race leader, and we do have the number 70 of Che Mello. Remember who he is, chasing that win, and he is on the bottom step of the podium at the moment. Still has 2 cars working together with Riley Curtis and Dave Douglas just ahead. The draft is going to be powerful for this one, and hopefully Jason Holsworth can give Che Mello a little bit of a push to try and get his first win. But we're getting ready to go white flag, heading down the back stretch for the second last time this season here at Atlanta. Remembering that this is the second last round, but here we go. The high line is starting to get a little bit of a push here, with Jason Holsworth pushing Che Mello. They are side by side in the back stretch. Che Mello now in second, white flag waves, and Jason Holsworth's going to try and give the push to Che Mello. And let's see what they can achieve here as they're heading down turn number 2, down the back stretch for the final time here tonight.
Side draft in there now, so that's held the Dougie back, and that got Che Mello right in the fight. And now they're really side by side, but doesn't look like they're going to get to the front.
And they don't, and we go checkered flag. Riley Curtis takes the win with Dave Douglas and Che Mello, and so it looks like we have a couple of cars just sliding around as my computer tries to update itself. Che Mello in 3rd position, Jason Holsworth in 4th, and that's how the top 4 end, and they are the only 4 on the lead lap, which just goes to show how much pace they had, and the strategy did work out pretty nicely. But Riley Curtis, our race winner for the Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series final race at Atlanta for season number 3. This is a Triple Crown round, so let's see how much points he can gain on everyone else with that one. But Riley Curtis 093 is going to burn it up here in the front stretch, and I'll shut up for a moment, and then we'll get talking with the podium.
Yeah, burn it down, lad. Get in there, son. So yeah, that side draft down the backstretch, that really nearly had a big part to play in that race. It didn't quite work out for Che Mello and Holdsworth down the backstretch there, but they really had that side draft working, and you could see Dougie fell off the back of Curtis, and that almost got them in with a chance. It just didn't quite work out, but that race was probably a little bit closer than it looked, especially since these 2 guys in the bottom lane, Riley and Dougie, they both had pretty clean trucks, so I think that race was a little closer than it actually looked there, but good effort by all the lads to keep it going, and pretty clean towards the end there as well. So that was nice. Even though there was hardly any trucks on the road. Yeah, kick it and rip it, son.
And we can see Andrew's cheering on his fellow mate Riley Curtis, and Paul kept his mic muted as always. It's never a dull moment with you, Paul, but good win with Riley. He was able to stay clean during the race. Remember, we had so many incidents. We had cautions left, right, centre, and he's managed to keep a clean truck, not even a dent in that car, and he burns it down. But for the second final round of the season, we will go through the race results, and I'll throw this over to Andrew Dyson to talk us through this one.
Oh, we're going to chat results? All right, well, winner Riley Curtis. Get around him, lads. Coming in second, Dave Douglas. Che Mello coming in for P3. That's pretty good effort. He stayed out of trouble. He chilled out and got himself a good result. Not quite the W. He just wants to win, man. So keep an eye on him for next season. He's having a red-hot dip. Holdsworth, he's always there or thereabouts. Coming home P4. Gary Wildman, he's a pretty clean racer as well. Coming up in P6. No, sorry, that's P5. P6, Darren McKenzie. Probably unlucky with that strategy. He should have been right there. So he was probably out of sync with fuel more than anything. Seidel, P7, Kim Roffey, and Craig Roffey, both right with each other there in P8 and P9. Andy Barber coming home P10. That rounds out your 10. I thought I'd have one of you lads to take it through the rest.
Luke Kenny in P number 11, he led the race earlier on and showed quite a lot of pace there. Alex Smith, that's your P number 12. Stephen Williams, Andrew Dyson, that's your teammate. He's in 13th, unlucky number, but I think he might have finished the race. No, he didn't. Tom Pritchard from Skypoint, he's in 14th. He was able to circulate through the race. Tony Roffey, 15th, with Chris Tomlin. After being on his roof, he managed to circulate and finish the race in number P3. Well, not P3, number 16, 3 away from where he started. Josh Schultz getting involved earlier on. He's 66 laps down, and he is the final finishing car of the race, 17 position. And Daniel Dyson in P, number 18.
Get around him.
Don't know who he is, never heard of the name. But in P19, Aaron Dillon, we saw him in qualifying getting involved in the wall, and he got involved a couple of times in a couple of accidents. Tonight, Toddy Maxfield from Hot Toddy's Heating Installs in P number 20, Maxi Marshall 21st, Glenn Klein in 22nd, Luke Crummy in 23rd, and Noddy Tompkins. That ends your 24 cars for this race, but we are bringing everyone in. We have Dave in here, we have Riley in here, we're just waiting for Shay, and have a look around for him. Doesn't look like he's in yet, so we'll get this underway, and then when he comes in, we'll probably get him in late. Dave, we can already hear your mic, we can already hear your fan. We're getting, in a chat with you, mate. You've had to deal with my shit talking, but P number 2 is pretty good. After, having the pace throughout the race, you managed to stay out of incidents, and ultimately you got to be one of 4 cars to be on the lead lap. And what worked well for you with that one? Because obviously your strategy was better than quite a lot of other people's, considering that only 4 cars were on the lead lap.
Yeah, I guess the strategy was to stay out of trouble. I didn't qualify. Well, I missed qualifying. I started too late and missed my second lap, so I was down the field. So I just thought, I'll just cruise at the back here, watch it all unfold, and that's what happened. I just stopped every time I had a chance to stop, didn't take tyres, put some fuel in it, and kept going and drive around in circles for an hour and a half, and then, ended up behind Riley. I thought we were going to get stitched up by that safety car, the yellow flag. But we just come out of the pit just before Holdsworth got to us, so we were able to stay on the lead lap and then cycle out in the lead. So then it was just about pushing Ryder to win. That's all. That's the only strategy tonight, was getting the 0.93 in the victory lane.
And throughout the race, sorry to cut you off, Dave.
I was just making sure you were still awake, mate. That's all.
I thought it was asleep, Tim. It happened last time, Dave. I thought it happened again.
That's it.
For the people that don't know, me, Dave, and Paul were still in the broadcast booth, and I put my head down on the desk, went for a little power nap, and I woke up and started interviewing him like 3 years later, and here we are again. And I'm awake. Surprisingly, I did have a few yawns during the race. But,
I'll bet you did, mate.
Yeah. Long days. I've worked 85 hours last week, so I've had a big one. But Dave,
85 minutes or hours?
Mate, you don't even last 85 minutes. Anyway, so Dave, mate, you managed to stay clean. You had a good race, and heading over to Daytona next round. How do you reckon you go tackle that one?
We'll just see what happens at Daytona. I guess it's a freaking long race, so if I keep myself awake for long enough, we'll see where I end up at the end of it.
Well, we know Junior won't stay awake for it.
Oh, absolutely not. If he falls asleep, I'm falling asleep, mate.
Mate, we can have a slumber party, mate. But during the race, strategy worked out well for you. You managed to stay to the end. You stayed out of the trouble.
Yeah, stay out of trouble, mate. Yeah, the boys are getting heated out there. There was a few names getting thrown around there at the end. I was too busy worried about Riley's car to see who it was. But there was a few names getting thrown around. It was getting heated, mate. They're up in the ante, tell you. The gloves are off.
The gloves are off, and I reckon, I've seen,
they're all racing for P25, but the gloves are off, man.
Well, I had a little look-see at the protest channel, and it looks like it's getting a bit heated there, I reckon.
Oh, good. That's my next stop, mate.
I reckon the boxing gloves are coming out. There's a couple peanut emojis coming out as well, so...
Yeah, beautiful. I'll put just one up anyway. we'll get on the roller. Get Riley up here. He can do what I think. See, same team, same everything. So, I will say if Riley wasn't in front of me, I probably would have helped Holdsworth and let him have the win because he did push me to win last week. The fact that it was a teammate, I couldn't let that happen. So,
The boys.
Yeah, the boys. For all, before we throw Andrew in, you're familiar with him. We've had him in the broadcast booth with used him as commentary for a little bit. Che Mello in third.
Yeah, he was going all right last week too, and then ran out of fuel. But yeah, he's going good.
Yeah, we did jump on camera with him.
Is he in here?
Yeah, no, but we would have spoken to him before you because we jumped on board. We could see your information, like your beautiful photo, your beautiful mugs up on the broadcast with your name and your hometown and all that kind of stuff. But his was a little bit different. He said that he was chasing his first win, and maybe you could have given it to him if you didn't seal it. But anyway, Dave, I'm barbering on. I'm talking shit. Don't know what I'm talking about. But
all right. Good night, Junior.
Good night, and I'll throw it over to you, Dave. Andrew. We'll throw you. To Dave.
Andrew Dixon is Andrew Dickinson's here.
We'll throw Andrew over, and then we'll thank your sponsors, and then we'll throw us over to Riley.
Yeah, so I've got myself, Andrew Dyson, in the booth tonight, wearing the special comments hat. How you going, lads? Riley, we'll start off with you, bud. How'd your race go, mate? You absolutely killed it out there. Probably didn't look back not once.
Oh man, you have to look back with some of what's going on around you. Cars going over you and whatnot.
With Dave behind you, might have to look backwards.
Mate, you always trust when Davo's behind you.
Yeah, just not when I'm behind you. So did you trust in No. Were you trusting Dave with the push, and when you had those other two guys kind of rounding up on the outside in those last few laps there, were you thinking they were a threat at all, or were you just kind of you were confident in Dougie's ability there?
Mate, Dave's known for his pushing when he's behind a bloke, so but when you get a couple on the outside here there, they had a couple of goes, but they just couldn't quite get there, so yeah, pretty confident.
Yeah, nice work, mate. So next week, Daytona. Obviously, you've been around there for a few laps, done a few circulations. How are you feeling about it?
I do enjoy Daytona for that last 10 laps if you're there. Getting there will be a different story, but we'll see.
Yeah, what do you reckon, mate? A bit of a lucky dip sort of race, or are you just the type that likes to sit back or stay at the front? What's your feeling?
Usually I'd like to sit back, but with their last few super speedway races, I couldn't tell you. Might just have to have a crack.
Get up on the piece, you reckon? Well, you heard it here first, folks. Rolly and Dougie going to try and get up the front next week, so come and get them. I reckon that's something for the hit list.
And we've seen the hit list a bunch, but we'll throw it back over to you, Dave. Why don't you think it's all your sponsors, all your lovers, includes Paul and people that got you here?
Oh yeah, just A1 Sim Sports, 1-2. First one for the season, first win for Riley, so that's good. Shout out to Skypoynt and all the boys that put on the league and do all the admin work. And I know Tom's not going to be happy tonight. He'll be filthy in that review tonight, I reckon. So tune in; it'll be a good one. And shout out to Daiso and Stevie Dubs. We little satellite team, mate. We all little work together, mate. The little boys, mate. The little guys taking on the big boys like Skypoynt, you know. So shout out to those boys, and yeah, that's it. Cheers, Junior Blocker into Sim.
You might have to get Ryan Barber in there with you next time to join the little boys.
Little dick, little boys, and
just trying to punch above our weight, mate. That's all we are. It's a little team, mate.
Well, they are little boys with little wieners, but we'll throw it over to Riley Curtis, our race winner, mate. You managed to beat out the rest of the field. Obviously, coming P1, 11 positions up from where you started. What worked out for you?
Staying clean. As you've probably seen at the start of the race, there was a few wild moves being thrown around the front there, and me and Dave sort of chilled out a little bit further back, made sure we had the room. And I don't know how I did not get murdered in two of them wrecks, but I got through clean for once. So, and then from there it was just manage your race.
Yeah,
have some fun.
Yeah, and a bunch of fun you did have. Regarding to the race, we did have the cautions and that kind of stuff. How do you Is there anything that you would have done differently during the race? Avoiding the incidents, you had a clean car, but apart from that, is there anything that you'd do differently next time? I'm pretty sure Atlantis in the next calendar.
No, we played our tyres pretty good. Played fuel pretty good. We got to where we did through the good strategy. So.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to cut in there. If you go back and look at lap 22, I don't know if Blocker, you can get back to lap 22. Watch Riley. He goes underneath the car. There's cars going everywhere. How the heck he didn't touch anything is beyond me. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I nearly died.
I got you, Dave.
It's wild, mate. Lap 22 on Riley. Sorry, Junior.
I nearly died a few times there.
And I'm pretty sure Paul's just going to replay there. We look at Riley Curtis there on lap 22, if I'm correct. He's having a look at Dave. Dave does have a really nice rear end, but I'll just say that from experience. But we're going down the back stretch here, have a little bit of a look, see we can see a bit of smoke, bit of incidents. Riley just gets down into the apron and he avoids the incidents barely. and he leaves the accident with his tail between his legs and the brown stain down his pants. But
man,
he got through there.
Maxie Marshall ended up. Maxie Marshall went in there hard.
But yeah, that was good accident avoidance, and thanks for bringing that up, Paul. But I don't really know what to say, try not to fall asleep at my desk, so I'll throw it over to Paul and Andrew.
Well, I think everyone should do a Dan Andrews, get on the Bears and enjoy the rest of the night, or we'll go to bed and we'll all tuck Junior into bed and sing him a lullaby so he falls asleep. But he's doing that on his own. But thanks Dave and Riley jumping in, P2 and 1. Good race, and Daiso jumping in the booth with us tonight for a bit of a chat.
Yeah, and it was good to have you chat for everyone. Riley, we'll get you shout out your sponsors and then we'll wrap this up so we can have the review done.
Just me and Dave, A1 Sim Sports. I got a Better Beer on board now, so get yourself a Better Beer. They're a jog in a can, so get up.
Get around it.
What's a better beer?
Mate, a Better Beer is a better beer. They're a nice low carb option. They're a jog in a can, so you don't have to go to the gym.
I was going to say a better bear's the next beer you're going to have, isn't it?
The better bear. That's Davo's nickname when he's behind you.
And
a better bear, is it?
I'll give you a bit of everything, mate.
Ooh, hey.
All right, and before it gets a little bit too spicy in the broadcast booth, we better finish this one off so we can have the review done.
We better get Matt Padden in there for that too.
Yeah, drag him up.
Yeah, and we've had a pretty good race, and so far tonight this is the final race here at Atlanta for the season, and the second final race. Well, the second final race for the season, the final race at Atlanta for the season. We've taken 130 laps here. We had a few cautions. 200 miles was our distance covered, and we loved every moment of it. Andrew Dyson joined us in the broadcast booth halfway through after not being able to keep his engine running, and next round we do head over to Daytona for our season finale. Double points, 200 laps, 500 miles. Yes, it is the Daytona 500, and we head across there to wrap the championship up. Race results, I'll go through again. They're on your screen. I'll just go through the top 10. Riley Curtis, Dave Douglas, Jay Mello, Chris Holsworth, Gary Wellman, Darren McKenzie, Nigel Seidel, Kim Ruffy, Craig Ruffy, and Andy Barber. That's your top 10. From me, Intersim, Paul Jackson, Andrew Dyson, and Skypoynt for the NASCAR, for the Skypoynt NASCAR Truck Series. We thank you for joining for the second final time, and we'll see you next round at Daytona for the Daytona 500. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you then.